Welcome back to yet another episode of our Drift Car Build-Off presented by Spec Clutch and Koyorad.
Today is final assembly day where we put this thing back in one piece on the ground and get it into running and driving condition. Can we call it that?
Yes.
Woo-hoo!
Fun job, APT.
Shit! That was my frustration with this front bumper.
Pure evil.
It is our fault because when we originally took it off, we took the bumper off without the rebar, and that's not how you do it. And we struggled. I think we've wasted 2 hours doing this whole job of getting this bumper back on. It was a nightmare, but she's on, which is good, real good. I did a thing where I got rid of the fog lights. I said, you know what, I don't like the way they look in there. Got more race cars, still have some wires to tuck away, but figured having an opening like that just would be a little bit different than having these crappy things in there. So I think right now we can move on to our ride height here and get this thing dialed in, so I can zen out a little bit and look at this car and admire its beauty.
Just getting the ride height set up here, taking some guesses at where to set it. Don't really know until we put it on the ground and then take some measurements to get it all evened out, but got it kind of roughed in to start. And we were noticing with these ST wheel spacers that the plastic centering ring that has quite a deep protrusion on it to center on the wheel. You can see it actually fits inside the Koenig wheel beautifully here. If you have a wheel with a different center bore than the factory wheel, they actually ST actually supplies these cut down centering rings. So it'll still make the spacer hub centric on the knuckle, but you won't have to worry about it being hub centric to a wheel that has, say, a smaller bore or a larger bore. Either way, it would be redundant. So this gives you some flexibility in terms of not having to run a wheel that's a perfect fit. Obviously, it's better to have it be hub-centric if you can, but at least they give you the option of not having to use that and run other wheels if you want to. So I'm actually just going to pull this out of here.
That's what I like about it, DP, is that it actually locks in place there. So now it kind of just acts on the wheel. So every time, you're usually used to taking off a wheel spacer, it's stuck on there or on the hub and whatnot, and then you're dealing with it back and forth. But this one actually locks it in place, which is super cool.
All right, there you go. Wheels and tires all bolted up. We can put this thing on the ground now and check ride height. Looking all pro spec. Really like the way this car is looking. And speaking of looking all pro spec, everybody, check out our new gray hoodies.
Ooh.
You can buy these at speedacademy.shop for the low price of $35. Actually, I think the exchange rate is so poor right now, it might be $37.18 US. But in any case, that's still a bargain.
Stock. Look at that
Such
gray.
a fine looking garment. Covers your man boobs and your dad bod like a boss. You too could look this good. Buy now.
Whoo!
There she is.
Damn.
On the ground, and by on the ground I mean on these ramps which simulate the ground low enough that the weight of the car is actually on the suspension instead of still being held up by the lift. And from what the internet tells me, we want to be at 13 inches in the front and 13 and a half in the back. This car normally has a 1/2 inch rake.
Okay.
We may fine tune that, but we are at like almost 14 inches in the front, which is maybe an inch too high. And you can see I've got basically 3 fingers there, which is too many.
What does the rear look like, VP?
The rear looks good. I'm betting you we're pretty much on the money. Look at how good the rear looks.
And with that spacer, man.
Woo. Look at that, 13 and a half. That's on the money. We nailed the rear end. So I would say let's lower the front an inch.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have the ride height where we want it.
There you go, DP. I think that's
Getting closer, huh?
really close.
Woo. I got the 1 finger, not quite the 2 finger. I guess I gotta use a measuring tape, don't I?
You should.
I got it right here in my gray colorway hoodie from speedacademy.shop.
Looks great.
You buy now. All right. Oh, buddy, I nailed it. 13 on the nose. Actually, that's 13 and a quarter. So we only have a 1/4 inch rake. Let's rake more rear grip. You need rear grip for driving out of this corner sideways, PT.
I know.
So let's just leave it like that for now.
I think so.
You can go around and around and around all day on this.
You really can, right?
Get into a real death spiral with changing ride heights and chasing corner weights, which we're not doing, by the way, but we will do a proper alignment on this thing very soon. So yeah, let's call that ride height good. Let's just stand back and admire our work.
We do. We need to. We need a win here. Before we get on to the exhaust system, I had some kind of idea in the back here, and that was the front has a bunch of carbon on it. It's very contrasty with that, and I felt like the rear needed something to give it that kind of contrast, kind of match the front more so. So I looked at options, and there was the CSL trunk, which I would have to replace the whole thing, and I thought, you know what? I don't think it really suits it, and it would be just a lot of carbon up there. So what was a quick and easy way and a somewhat subtle way to add some carbon was to replace this with a carbon piece. So, ta-da, check this out. Woo. This is a piece from Aero Function. It is all carbon fiber, and I think what this is modeled after is the CSL unit that you would buy in Europe. As you can see, it's got a more aggressive trim area that goes around the muffler, and I think with this installed here it's going to look way nicer and kind of give me that contrast that I'm looking for. And the nice thing is I don't think there's any rusty bolts to deal with here. It is all plastic holding this in place, so I'm going to pull this off, put this in place, and we'll see what it looks like. And just like that, we've got this piece on. It wasn't too bad a job fitting it. Of course, there was a little bit of sanding and tweaking to make it all work. But I mean, it is what it is for fitment. There's a couple of small little areas that quality could be improved. But overall, I think it's kind of what you would expect for a $300 piece of carbon. So with that being done, I think this looks really good. We just need to fill these 2 holes here with an exhaust system. And the first thing we are going to do is actually put up the exhaust without the muffler, because I want to see what this thing sounds like without a muffler on it. And here we are. The stock exhaust is back in place here. And the reason why we had issues with it is one of the flanges that was on the end here that looked like this, it is completely gone, so it's rusted off. I was thinking about maybe making some straight pipes that would run to both sides. It would require a lot of work, time, and effort, and I mean, in terms of pricing for pipes, I think that's almost a wash, because you can buy a muffler system here for one of these cars for like 400 US. So it's definitely not bad. I'm just not sure exactly what to do for a muffler. I don't love the raspiness of this exhaust system, so that's why I want to test it without the muffler on to see how it sounds. But I just haven't been able to find something that I really like. So if you guys have suggestions, please post in the comments what you think one of the best sounding systems is. I know I've got stock cats and whatnot, so that definitely can change it if you get headers. I'm not about that right now. I just want something that'll be a little bit louder than stock, but isn't gonna drone or be kind of like very tinny when you're ripping it. I don't want a drift car that sounds like it's got metal cans in the back. So anyways, why don't we lower this car, fire it up, and let's listen to what this sounds like. All right, this is the second official start of this car. So let's see what happens here.
That's a little loud, PT.
Yeah, it's really uncorked, isn't it?
It's like a tractor now. Oh,
yeah, see, it's just, it sounds like there's no exhaust on it. And I probably, oh yeah, it's starting to come up here with a little bit of smoke, DP?
holy
Just a bit. Well,
Look at this.
the car hasn't run in a long time. So.
Holy smokes.
All right, well, I think it's safe to say that the exhaustless or the mufflerless sound is not what I'm going for. So I think what I'm gonna do is, we've got a stock exhaust system kicking here. We're gonna put that guy back on and just leave it until I figure something out. Well, so much for making our stock exhaust system work here. And that is because, well, this has been a theme lately. There is just too much rust, too much corrosion holding these two flanges together. Dave and I, well, we tried our chisel, we tried our hammer, we tried the bolt buster, we tried everything to get these apart, and they're not going. Then we noticed that the flange up here is cracked. You see that? That is a nice crack there. So I think I'm gonna throw in the towel on getting this stock exhaust system to work, and I'm going the aftermarket way. I was a little hesitant because I wanted to save a couple bucks not having to replace this stuff, but the 300,000 kilometer curse strikes once again, which means we are gonna get a new exhaust system. And just like that, this episode is gonna be a wrap. It's come to an abrupt halt. We're missing an exhaust system, but that will come pretty soon. Again, I would love for you guys to post in the comments what you think I should get for a system. And as always, thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We also appreciate the likes. They help us grow our channel, and the subscribe and the notification bell. So hit all of those for us as well. If you'd like merchandise, by all means, check out speedacademy.shop. And if you're feeling generous, throw us a couple bucks at Patreon or join the memberships on our YouTube channel.